Thank you everybody for being here to hang out with me for today. I'm really excited to get to go through this. My name is Amanda Lancaster. I am one of the print account managers with Practice Promotions. Some of you may know me as Amanda Atkins. I did recently get married, so if we notice the name change, that's why, but it's still me. So today we're going to go over how to get results that you'll love from print marketing, plus the importance of printing consistency. So we're going to kind of dive into why is it important to print and some steps that you can take, some successful actions just to make sure that we're maximizing those results. So let's go ahead and jump in. I will say too, stay tuned until the end of the webinar to see if you've won this month's Stat Tracker contest. If you've won, if you're up to date with your Stat Tracker, you can win a $100 Amazon gift card. So stay tuned to the end and I'll announce the winner then. All right, so let's go ahead and dive in. So why is it important to print? It's going to be important to print because it helps to build your brand and it sets you apart from competition. So just kind of think about it. It's another thing that you're able to reach out to your community, put your name out there, help establish that trust in that relationship. You're able to engage with your community through sending out maybe some fun announcements, targeted materials, educational pieces. There's so many options for what you can do with print products. And if you are curious as to what some of those things are, I do discuss that today as well. So it's going to generate a higher conversion rate as well. So that higher conversion rate equals more new patients. So it's definitely going to be important that we're engaging every single month with your patients through our print products. So printing matters in a digital world. People trust print and it lasts longer. It's something tangible, meaning it can be shared really easily. It's so easy to, maybe you know somebody who's looking for a PT or maybe they're having a particular issue and it's so easy to just share your printed marketing material. And it helps to build trust with your patients. Think about how many emails that you're getting a day with different information, but sending out personalized printed material, it's more trustworthy, it's going to get that higher response rate, it's tailored towards you and your clinic. I also think the trust really comes into play during a pandemic because, think about how many people, they're feeling uneasy, they're feeling uncertain, but you're consistently staying in contact with them. Every single month you're sending out materials and checking up on them. You're reminding them to come in. That just helps build that relationship with your patients more. And it's going to get read. So we make sure that printed marketing materials reach 95+% of your patients. So at some point, they have to interact with your printed material, whether that's them walking to the mailbox and scrolling through and seeing your postcard. They're seeing your name, they're seeing your logo, they're seeing what they need to come in to do. They have to at some point interact with you in that way. And then print versus digital. So this first stat here was really interesting to me to find when I was doing some research. So on average, people actually spend 5 minutes reading digital material versus 20 minutes reading printed material. This is such an awesome win for print marketing because we've got a longer period of time to rope them in. We can consistently be putting out calls to actions. We have a longer period of time to really keep that hold of them. And print has a longer lifespan than digital because it's kept around. So just think if let's say you're sending out your newsletters, that we put targeted material in it that's kind of non-relevant content, such as recipes or exercises or games, something that people want to hold on to and they want to share easily. So it's definitely going to have a longer lifespan and people are going to be reading it longer. And it can be shared so easily. Like I've been saying, not only can you, your patients share it, but you can share it out with the community. You can bring it to physicians' offices, gyms, any events that you might have. If you've got new patients, you want to really just establish your brand even more. There's so many different ways that you can send out printed marketing material. This is going to be extremely, extremely important. You have to stay consistent with your print marketing. It is a long-term marketing strategy. Print marketing does not work if you're going to just do it once and you're never going to touch it again. You want to be as consistent as possible. So frequency is going to matter. Response rates grow over a period of time with consistent marketing. So that's going to be one of the really important things to remember from today. And also keep in mind that you may have heard us say this in the past, it does take about 20 plus touch points for people to take action. So, if you're thinking to myself, am I sending something out too much? you're not. You want to increase those touch points. You want to just keep establishing that trust. Repetition is key. So, maybe one marketing material, it didn't resonate with your patient. Maybe the next will. We want to make sure that we're just repeating our efforts and we're being consistent and we're being somebody that those patients can trust. So what next? What can you do to help make those print successes? What can you do to maximize those results? Make sure that you're sharing your wins and your personal connection stories with your account managers. Just kind of an example of this, I have a client who recently let me know that one of his physical therapists was working with a woman. She was wheelchair bound. She didn't think she was ever going to stand again. Not only is she now standing, she's walking. She's doing something more than what people thought she was never going to be able to do. This was such a great win to tell us because instantly me and the digital account manager knew what we needed to do. We needed to get that story out. So keep your account managers updated with clinic news as well. Maybe we have some suggestions for maybe you're having an event and we know how we can promote it. Maybe you're getting a new location. Communication is definitely going to be key. And keep in mind, you have a whole team here behind you with practice promotions. So maybe you have a goal and you're not really sure how to run with it. You're not really sure what to do next. Share it with your account managers. We're here to help. We're here to help guide you with what we're looking for. We're here to help make sure that you reach those goals. So it's all going to just come back to that communication. We're a team. We have to work together. Interacting with your patients through your printed marketing material. This is going to be another wonderful reason for sending out printed material. Through contests, games, announcements, you can keep your patients engaged. You can send out postcards just checking in on them in a time of uncertainty. There's so much that you can do to just keep building that relationship and keeping your patients updated. So again, this is something really important to remember, especially during a pandemic, that you can remind your patients you're here for them. We're here to help you find some pain relief. This is everything we're doing for you. And then another kind of personal example of that, if you're just trying to decide what I mean by that, is I recently had a client who let me know that she had quite a few people call out due to voicing COVID concerns. They weren't exposed to it, they didn't have it, they just were concerned to come out. And we thanked her for letting us know that because there were so many ways that we could help combat that through advertising that they were doing telehealth, which was working, the precautions that they were doing, letting people know we know things are nervous right now, but we're here for you. And they're not having those issues anymore. So just again, if we hadn't been told that, if we hadn't seen that in a stat tracker, it would have been something we might not have known. So definitely make sure to let us know not only your wins, but if you're struggling, how can we help you out? And what else can you do to help maximize those results? So we're there to help guide you with targeted content, but we also want to make sure that your print products are as unique and personal as possible to you, what you're seeing, what your clinic is all about. So definitely don't shy away from sending in some custom photos, some patient testimonials, personal stories. Maybe you want to really spotlight somebody who finished some training. And I don't feel like, every single month you've got to send in tons and tons of information. It's so simple to just take a snapshot inside your clinic, maybe have therapists look at a photo and send it over to us. Just ways that we can really set you apart by having that unique, familiar feel where people are reading about 5-star reviews, people are seeing these personal stories. The story, for example, of the woman who never thought she was going to stand, but now she's also walking. People want to read that stuff. We love a good feel-good story. So I'm going to kind of go over some success stories as well before we dive into some print product variety. So I want to show you what I'm talking about when I talk about being consistent, being frequent. So on the left here, and let me do a quick little disclaimer. This is a stat tracker. If you've not seen one before, it gives us a chance to track your new patients, your reactivated patients, and your total patient visits. So this client here, just keep in mind, typically he adds them all up at the end of the month and includes it. He did that for August, whereas in September he did week by week. So don't worry, he wasn't shut for 4 weeks or anything. So this is a really great win. So this client here on the left, they doubled their reactivated patient count after direct mailing newsletters to their entire list. So in just 1 month, they had a 24,000 reactivated patient value. So this is for August and September. If you look right here, reactivated, we've got 15. And then in September, reactivated, we have 30. So that was a really great win and just kind of shows that importance where people are engaging with print products. And then on the right here, this is still a stat tracker. This, however, is showing your yearly rates, which is another really fun option with stat trackers because we can go through and see the differences over the years. So this client on the right, not only do they direct mail their newsletter, they regularly add another print product to their newsletter for events or announcements. And they added 13 more new patients in June of 2020 than they did in 2019, even right smack in the middle of the pandemic. They were still seeing extremely high COVID cases in June of 2020, but they managed to do better than they did in the year where there wasn't a pandemic. They are definitely one that is very, very frequent. They don't miss a month. They're engaged with their account managers and they see great successes from it. And then again, we've got 2 more images of stat trackers. So these are monthly reactivated patients. Each graph is going to be the previous month. So on the left here, this client, they mailed their newsletter to their entire patient list. They engage in other print products when it's relevant to their patients pretty frequently. And during the pandemic, they took a hit like most clinics did, but they came back stronger than ever and quickly. They are, again, someone that is in communication every single month with their account managers. They're doing what they can. So we saw them come back almost instantly and they stayed going back up. On the right, this client, they don't mail their newsletter. They don't engage in any other print products. They're not as communicative. And so when the pandemic hit, their numbers also went down, but they continued to stay down. So, maybe we saw a little rise, but then we went back down, and then another rise, and then we went back down. We don't want that. We want you to have consistent risings. We don't want you wondering if one month we're going back down, one month we're going out. We want to consistently be getting those numbers increasing. So these are some really interesting stats that I found while doing some research. 56% of people find print marketing to be the most trustworthy type of marketing. 60% visited a website because of direct mail. This stat right here, I really love this stat because I've recently been checking into website clicks after print marketing materials land in mailboxes. And we're finding that website clicks are shooting up when that happens. So not only are your patients, they're engaging through printed materials, they're calling, they're coming back in, they're then going to your website and they're interacting with your website. So that's really neat to know. And then 82% of people trust printed material over digital when making a decision on a purchase. So not only are 56% finding print to be the most trustworthy, but 82% find it to be more trustworthy than digital. So it's really important to just keep that in mind when you're thinking about print and digital, is that trust is really there with printed material. And then getting those results in. So your print products, they need to be relevant to your clinic, your patients. We're going to do everything we can on the account manager side to make sure that we're using relevant copy that's relevant to you and pictures that's relevant to you. So, maybe you're more of an aquatic therapy clinic. We're going to make sure that we have aquatic therapy photos and copy, or maybe you're more manual therapy. We're going to tailor that content to it. But you still have to be communicative. We still need to meet on a monthly basis. That way we can just make sure that we know what's going on, we know what your goals are, and we know what our next action steps are. So again, just really important to stay in communication with account managers and be sure to share your wins. And not only your wins, like I said before, if you're having some, you may be like, I get a lot of Google reviews the past few months, I really want to amp those up. That's what we're here to help you with. So now I'm going to kind of dive into some print product variety and the importance of each one. So there's many different types of print products that you can use, and they're all going to serve a really good purpose. So rack cards, for example, these are going to be really good for, let's say you want to get some reviews in. With rack cards, we do put QR codes on them. It's very user-friendly. People just scan it, takes them right to your Google review page to leave a 5-star review. If one of your goals is to increase your Google reviews, this is something you could have in clinic. And you could say, hey, you had a great appointment. Do you mind leaving us a 5-star review? I do have one clinic who he orders these and he puts a competition with his physical therapist for whoever can get the most Google reviews from these cards gets a gift card. So there's so many fun ways that you can interact with those, not with just your patients, but with your staff. You can send out about individual services. Maybe there's a program that you really want to promote. There's definitely ways that we can do that through rack cards. And then postcards. There's so many ways that you can do with a postcard. They're great for announcements. Maybe you've opened a new location or you've moved. Maybe you just want to send out a reminder letting people know you're there for them, or a reminder to come in and go to an appointment, check in, come back in. If there's any workshops or events that you're hosting, maybe you're doing a greatest promotion ever and you're doing a day of free exams. Those are going to be really successful at sending out to engage with your patients that way. Brochures. These are going to be really great for having kind of more detailed explanations of your services. It's something that you can have sent to your clinic to maybe bring to some physicians' offices or just have out for handouts. You know, we can talk about who you are, what sets you apart, what are some services that you offer, how can you help people. And it's a really good option for handouts in the community. So that's going to be one of your really good physically distributing options. And the newsletters, I'm sure everybody here knows about the newsletters. Newsletters are great at engaging past patients and increasing those patient referrals. They're going to keep people, you top of mind. People know that you're the expert to turn to. And they provide educational content. They can be customized to you. Like I said before, maybe you see a lot of people with dizziness. We can make sure that we're tailoring content towards that. And we can always, again, that just relates back to that communication. That way we know kind of what you're seeing a lot of, so that we can tailor things to be as unique to you as possible. Also, physician newsletters. Those are really successful as well. Maybe you have a great relationship with the physicians in your area and you'd love to drop off some physician newsletters. We do have copy on that as well. So those are a really good example for maybe getting those physician referrals in the door as well. So there's quite a few options for what you can do. If there's anything in particular you're thinking of, I'd really like to maybe advertise this service a little bit more, your account managers are here to help guide you on how to do that. And then I wanted to kind of show some successes for different printed materials, the successes that they had. So on the left here, this client sent out postcards for reminders to schedule an appointment. It has that wonderful call to action on the front, big bold letters. You see it, you know what it's about. They sent out 1,000 postcards. They spent about $749 for their investment. And in their return, they got $25,000 in their return because in just 30 days, 27 patients reactivated. So that was a really great success rate for those postcards. And then on the right here, this client, they direct mail to their entire patient list. They engage in other print products. They're in communication. They're consistent with their marketing efforts. Even when the pandemic hit and they took a dip, they kept going. They kept working with us. And they actually ended December of 2020 better than in 2019. So another one of those stat tracker successes that I was talking about earlier, how even though we're in the middle of a pandemic, they still ended stronger than they did the year before. So in just that 1 month where they increased their reactivated patients, that returning patient value was $31,652.60 just for 1 month in reactivated patients, not even including the new patients. So that's a wonderful win for them. So what do you do now? Well, what happens next? Contact your print account manager, let them know some of your goals, let them know some actions that you're looking to take, and we can offer some suggestions for how to achieve those goals, what we need to do next. And work with your account managers on finalizing that print product. So, once we know what you're looking for, we're here to make sure that it happens. Let us do the work. Once we know what your vision is, once we know what you're looking for and your goals, we're going to go from there and we're going to work to make sure that we accomplish those goals. And then we'll send that product to press and get those feedbacks from patients coming in. That way we know, they received it, they engaged with it, so we can, continue to tailor towards your goals. So now on the next slide, before I open up to the Q&As, I am going to announce the Stat Tracker winner. And just a reminder, this is a monthly contest, so continue filling out your Stat Trackers and maybe next month you'll be the winner of one. So let's go to the winner here. And the winner is Pat Stanziano from Leaps and Bounds Performance Rehabilitation. So congratulations, Pat. Be on the lookout for your $100 Amazon gift card that will be sent to you. And if you have any questions about the contest or anything like that, you can just go to practicepromotions.net/contest. Like I said, this is an ongoing contest, so make sure that you're staying up to date with your Stat Tracker. And that's another good reason for us to kind of look back and see what we're doing as far as making those wins happen. So, well, thank you so much, everybody, for joining. I do appreciate y'all hanging out with me and letting me go through all my webinar information. I am going to open the floor to questions. If you think of something later, please feel free to email me. My email is down here, amanda@practice-promotions.com. Or if you want to reach out to your account managers, whatever is easiest. But I am going to go ahead and open up the chat just in case anybody has any questions or if they need me to kind of clarify on anything at all. So the typical time frame for sending out print products, that's a great question. I do get this one quite a lot because people want to know how quickly they're going to get their print products. So when we start working on your product, design-wise, we're looking at about 3 business days. We do all the proofreading before you receive it. We're going to make sure that we're making it as easy as possible for you to go through any type of material you're receiving. So we'll have it designed in about 3 business days and proofread, any edits made from there and sent out to you. From there, we'll make sure we're prioritizing edits that you might have. When we send your print products to press, we have about a 1-week drop date while the printers work on printing, stamping, getting your stuff sent out in the mail. From there, it takes about 1 week for those products to arrive in mailboxes, depending on how good the mail's running in the area. Keep in mind that things like elections and holidays can slow that down. Let's see, how many mailings do you recommend to see return on investment? Oh, this is another great question. So typically we're not going to direct mail to under 500 because we want to make sure that we are seeing that response rate. So I would recommend 500 is the starting point, and then we can just continue to grow your list over a period of time. There's other things that you can do if, maybe you're direct mailing and you only have 500. That's when I would recommend, some physician newsletters so we can increase referrals coming in, postcards, reactivation offers. We can get more people back in the door and get them coming back in. So that's a great question. Typically with direct mail, we're going to start at about the 500 point. And how often should I mail? We're going to want to mail out every single month. This kind of divulges back into the frequency of everything and repetition. We want to make sure that we're sending out every single month. I did a lot of research when creating this webinar, going through many stat trackers, and I found out that, if we're doing every other month or every quarterly, we're not seeing those results that we see when we're being consistent every single month. Should I send out print products even if I'm doing email campaigns? Absolutely. You definitely want to do that because we want to hit as many people as possible, as many different ways as possible. Think back to that 20+ touch points. We want to keep increasing it. And I also like to remind people to think of preferences. There's a large portion of people who want to read printed, and then some who may want to read it digitally. So it's really important to keep those preferences in mind and making sure that people are able to see it going out consistently. Do you recommend mailing lists versus EDDM? Yes, great question. I do. So if you're not too sure what EDDM is, it's the every door delivery method. I do recommend sending out to your mailing list because EDDM isn't really targeting. You're just getting a random amount of people in an area. We're not necessarily targeting who it's going to. So I've seen where some people have successes for it, but typically we're gonna want to stick with your mailing list because we want to target people who have been to physical therapy, that maybe they've got a flare up or a new issue, or we can get the referrals coming in from there. So we are going to recommend sticking with your mailing list just for that better response rate. Some great questions. Great. I think that might be all. Is there any last minute questions before we all say goodbye? How to track, oh, that's a good question. How to track return on investment based on mailings. So it can be pretty difficult to know exactly who's coming in from what you're mailing out. So there's 2 ways that I always recommend. When people are coming in, I would recommend putting on your sign-up sheet, did you hear about us from our postcards, from our newsletters? You can have your front desk ask them. Sometimes people do come in and mention, I got your postcard in the mail, I got your newsletter. Unfortunately, people don't mention it, as much because they don't think to mention it as much as we would like. So you can put it on the sign-up sheets or through your stat tracker. So while the stat tracker may not necessarily break down that they came in from the newsletter, we are able to take a very strongly opinion that it is coming from the newsletter if once we start being consistent, we're seeing those reactivated patient numbers increase over a period of time. And then, checking the website clicks as well when the newsletters are hitting mailboxes and seeing that they are effective. People are engaging with your website and calling when those land. So definitely through the stat tracker, and then just asking people in your sign-up sheets when they're coming in. By mailing list, do you mean list of existing patients? Yes, so that would be typically what we find for mailing, the sweet spot, the kind of low-hanging fruit where we really get people coming in is from the 3 to 5 year past patient mailing list. So that's really important to remember too. The 3 to 5 year past patient mailing list, that's your list to target. That's where people, chances are they need to come back in. They've got a flare up, they've got a new issue. So that 3 to 5 year list, we do still want to engage with your current patients, but just keep in mind that 3 to 5 year list of patients is going to be a good one to target. If so, what about direct mailing for a new location? That's another great option. I've worked with a few people who have started out. So if they don't want to use one of their existing mailing locations, physically distributing is going to be a great option. You know, people are coming in the door and calling. It's going to be great to do handouts to get referrals coming back in. That's when I would recommend sending out calls to actions for bringing in friends, so that way we can increase the people in the area coming in. Or handouts, maybe doing some physician newsletters to increase those referrals in the area. So in that instance, I would kind of switch up a little bit what we're doing. So maybe increasing physician referrals and focusing on sending out content that's getting people to bring in referrals, like friends and family in. Well, I do appreciate everybody hanging out with me. If you think of any, please let your account managers know. That's what we're here. We're here to help you out. Oh, actually, we've got one more. In what circumstances would you recommend the newsletter versus the postcard or other print products? Good question. So I would never necessarily say choose between, you know, do I do my newsletter this month or do I do my postcard this month? Because it all kind of ties back into those touch points. So let's say we're direct mailing the newsletter every single month, but you've also got an announcement coming up. Like let's say you're doing a day of free exams and you want to extra promote that. So in that instance, that's going to be a really good way to talk to your account manager to see what they would recommend for that. So for me, I would say, you know, we're direct mailing our newsletters every single month, and maybe we have an announcement that we want to do. We're going to tack on postcards with it, or inserts for newsletters. So in that instance, if you're sending out your newsletter and you've got an announcement to make, I would recommend adding postcards onto it with it and inserts. We're just increasing that frequency and the touch point. What is the best way to market in a brand new location? So this kind of ties back in a little bit about what we talked about before. So if you're in a completely brand new location, I would recommend handouts. So physically distributing in the community. That's a way to build your brand, get people to know about you, going to attorneys' offices, gyms, restaurants. I mean, we got to do the legwork there. And then possibly sending out, like I said in the presentation, we have physician newsletters where we can talk about different topics, letting people, you know, word the verbiage towards sending patients over to increase those physician referrals. But if we're in a brand new location, it's definitely going to be some legwork, doing some handouts, going out in the community, handing out postcards. Postcards would be a really good option because you could do a coupon on it for a free consultation, you know, new location free consultation for your first visit. Those are really popular when we're opening up new clinics. Just, you know, go out, hand those out in the community. That's going to be one way to start building your mailing list. I think that might be all. I'm going to keep my eye on it in case one drops in. But again, I do appreciate everybody hanging out with me. If you do think of anything, please shoot me an email, reach out to your account managers. We're here to help reach those goals. Just let us know what your goals are, and we'll create a plan for how to achieve those. Well, I hope everybody has a great rest of your day and stay warm. Hopefully it's nice and sunny where you're at. And if anybody needs anything, again, just reach out to your account managers. So have a great day, everybody. Bye.